What's up guys, Renasant here. Welcome back to the channel. So as you can see, today I decided to do a little bit different of a video. I really want to talk about today why, in my personal opinion, politics matter. I know, it's super taboo. Nobody ever wants to talk about it. It's one of those things, but me personally, I enjoy politics, and I think that a lot can be gained from learning more about the political process in general. So, of course, we all know there's so much toxic discourse these days relating to politics, right? And I just wanted to go over a few of my personal opinions on this topic, and I can't stress that enough, guys, that these are my personal opinions, nothing more. Millions would disagree, millions would agree. It's just one of those things, guys. So, many times nowadays, we see our political discourse devolve into nothing more than just what I like to call toxic hearsay. It's just two sides going at each other. They constantly berating each other, belittling each other with no substantive evidence or facts to back any of that up, really. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, a conservative or a liberal or anything in between, like a libertarian, just anything in between those lines. But those polar opposite sides, far left, far right, in our current political climate, constantly tend to swing towards the extremes, in my opinion. And that's saddening, and it's the literal definition of politics these days. And as a fan of politics and a strong believer in our political process, this really is disheartening. But what's worse, though, and this is kind of going into the meat of this video, of why, in my belief, politics truly matter. To understand why they matter, you have to have an understanding of politics, of the majority's view in politics. And I would say that in 2018 right now, guys, feel free to disagree with me, but from what I've seen, the absolute apathy that people seem to have towards politics and the political process as a whole has never been more rampant, right? You just see apathy everywhere you go. Whether you're on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, a lot of news sites, stuff like that. I mean, just there seems to be a large sense of I don't really care, right? You have a lot of people that, loud, vocal people on both sides of the aisle that hate the other side. That's not what I mean. That's not apathy. And that is dangerous, yes, but apathy, in my opinion, is even more dangerous, right? So, I can't count how many times that I've heard someone say this. And you let me know in the comments if you've heard someone say this too. Why even bother voting? Or it's like choosing between the lesser of two evils, right? Or my personal favorite, this whole system is rigged. Everyone's out to get us. The system's down, crushing upon us, That's my favorite one. And these are common assumptions. And I 100% get where these type of people are coming from. I get it. I have been in that position before where I've kind of felt that way, right? I felt, man, why even bother to vote? Just to give you an example, I live in Mississippi. We're a Republican state, right? And this is not necessarily me personally, but just say if I was a liberal living in Mississippi, why would I even care about casting a vote for a liberal? I know the state's red. I know it's going to go Republican. It always goes Republican in the modern day. That's just a fact. But that's just one of those examples. Why would I even care? So I do get where these type of people are coming from, but I personally strongly believe that this feeling is not accurate, and it's not the case, especially when evaluating between different political choices. To me, it just shouldn't be looked at through this type of a lens, right? In my opinion, your vote truly does matter. It matters because it's your way, it's any citizen's way in America to make your voice heard. As small as your single solitary voice may be, and it may not be. You may be a YouTuber with 1 million subscribers. Your voice is going to be louder than others. not necessarily in regards to voting, but I'll get to it here in a minute, but just your influence as far as with other people. But you may be like me. You may have a small group of friends, your family, and that's about it. So your voice may not be the loudest in the room, but it's still so important, guys, that your voice is heard. Okay, I can't stress that enough. How important that is in America. Another reason that I believe politics aren't necessarily how I just described them, like it's all rigged and why even bother voting. Another reason is because whether you think about it or not, your political beliefs and your research into politics can help shape your actual just understanding of the world, and can help shape your beliefs as a person. They can shape them positively, they can shape them negatively. Regardless, your beliefs will never change if you don't research your own beliefs. I know that sounds kind of weird, but just think about this. If you're set in your way, say you believe the sky is red. Okay, this is just a stupid example, but an example nonetheless. I believe the sky is red. If I go my whole life without researching the sky, I'll always think it's red. I will never, unless I even engage in discourse with other people and say, hey, do you see that red sky? It's kind of a bad example in Mississippi because we actually do have a lot of red skies, but you get where I'm coming from. Unless you're engaging with others, you might never get the information to learn that, hey, the sky is actually not really red, right? And so, again, with shaping your political beliefs, whether I agree or whether anybody agrees with your personal political beliefs or not, we should all respect and even actively encourage you to be able to express those beliefs. And one way we express those beliefs is through political discourse. Voting, obviously, the big one, but not just voting, just discourse in general. And that's the beauty of our political process, and it should never be taken for granted, because I just can't stress how much that means to this country and how unique our country is in that regard. There are many countries and many people on this earth that do not have that luxury. Another reason, in my belief, that politics really matter is the large reaching just kind of like ripple effects that political decisions can have on the entire country. And you can look at this from multiple aspects, right? A great example right now, as this video is going up, is the Supreme Court. There is a lot of stuff going on with the Supreme Court right now. The current climate, the current nominee, the current president, all of that really hammers home the point of how crucial the Supreme Court is, whether you're on the left or the right. A lot of people just don't even know enough. They're not politically involved enough, or didn't pay attention in civics class in high school enough to realize that not only do Supreme Court justices sit on that Supreme Court for life, federal district court justices also do. They also sit on their seat for life. And you may be thinking, oh, Renasant, that doesn't affect me. Boy, yes it does. Federal district court judges, while not as glamorous and public as a Supreme Court justice, I guarantee you that federal district court justices oversee far, far, far and away more crucial cases in this country than the Supreme Court does. And because of this, it is absolutely crucial that we as a people have a say in those who are appointed to these positions for life, because they can affect our lives for decades, even though courts are supposed to be non-political, right? Just assume in a perfect world that nobody in no justice on a court anywhere is biased. Now, we know that that's not true. Humans, we all have implicit bias. It's just a fact. But let's just assume they're non-political. Even if you took that out of account, politicians are still the ones that effectively put most of these people in those positions. Presidents recommend Supreme Court justices, senators confirm them, In state government, governors do it. People elect certain justices. And since we, the people, are responsible for this, we have to really consider when evaluating who to support politically. Again, whether you lean left, you lean right, you're in the center, whatever, your core belief system should help play a part in determining crucial issues for this country for decades. The age-old quote that always comes to mind for me when considering, why politics truly matter is, and I don't know exactly who says this, but it's just something that always comes to mind, is, quote, "You may not take an interest in politics, but politics will always take an interest in you," end quote. This couldn't be more true. And just to give you an example, let's say you're a conservative Republican, you don't make much money, you're a strong believer that overtaxation is not only wrong and a poor way to govern, but it genuinely hurts you financially. It makes your life and your family's life more difficult, right? You don't bring home as much money as you would like to take care of your family. Say your state government is debating a tax increase next year. It's a modest tax increase. It's not much, but it will cut your paycheck slightly. It's basically like a small demotion. But you have the choice to vote on a new representative in office that claims to oppose that tax increase. If you not only take an interest in electing that candidate, but also share your political beliefs with others and get them involved, get yourself involved, you may be able to stop that tax increase, dramatically affect your life. Another example, to not seem biased, I guess, say you're a liberal Democrat, and you believe climate change is a serious threat facing the country, serious threat facing America. Say you live in West Virginia, where coal production is a crucial aspect of that economy. Someone who is actively against fossil fuel usage is running for a Senate seat, okay? They're not saying ban coal. They don't want to shut the coal industry down, none of that nonsense, but they are against fossil fuels, and they want to invest a lot of time and public money into reducing carbon emissions, and basically they are such a strong believer in climate change that they want to put policies in place that would help combat that, okay? Same thing as with the Republican. If you take an active interest and involve others in this political process, then you could stop that. Or, well, you could let that go forward and be able to help combat climate change. So there's thousands of examples. I'm sure you know dozens of different examples similar to these, but where your decision, or better yet, your active participation in politics drastically can change and impact your city, your state, hell, even the country. And this is just, I can't stress enough how important of an aspect this is of the American way of life. And I really truly fear that we are straying away from this mindset into this sad, apathetic view of politics, that it shouldn't be discussed. It's either it should never be discussed, or we're so polarized that when we do discuss it, we do nothing but create this toxic environment for each other. That it doesn't help that you have so much negativity in politics, or with identity politics playing such a huge factor now. But we really should strive to turn the shit back the other direction and start getting more excited to shape the future of our country, guys. And I just ask everyone that watches this video, no matter what side of the aisle you agree with, or if you're in the dead center of the aisle, it should be encouraged and should be a healthy thing to discuss politics with everybody. Do it respectfully, learn from each other. That's the best way to go forward. That's going to do it for this video, guys. Hope you all have a great day. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I would love to know anybody else's thoughts on this subject. I'm a big believer in political discourse. Hit me up. Have a great one, guys.